This is going to be a super fast reaction to Captain Marvel. Not quite a review, but just some of my thoughts. I decided to watch this tonight. Actually, you know what I'll do is I will go to my Twitter thread that I just made on it and read some of those thoughts that I had because I don't want to miss anything. First of all, I started this thread by saying that I was going to watch this movie in order to prove that it's possible to criticize or to like Captain Marvel or whatever, and also to do it constructively. If you even want to compare Alita and Captain Marvel, you can do it constructively. But the main point is that I wanted to show that you can do it without throwing the entire Alita Army movement or community under the bus, right? You don't need to, as I said here, if I don't like the movie, I will say so without dragging Alita Army into it. Just to show those people who keep fighting me how easy it is, right? And I kind of screwed up the thread here by responding to a comment instead of putting it here. But um, I also said that there's nothing wrong with constructive criticism or constructive comparisons, but I wish some people could talk about one movie without bringing up the other. It doesn't help Alita at all. Still, it's their right to do it. I just asked them not to use the hashtag for it, but I'll show them how it's done. So this isn't an Alita Army video, right? I'm not going to hashtag this Alita Army. I'm going to discuss Captain Marvel, and some of the thoughts that I had about the movie was that um, I was not happy with how Fury lost the eye. I'm just going to go over some of the nitpicks that I had first. I was not happy with how Fury lost his eye. And I already knew how he was going to lose his eye. I heard about it already. But there was something that happened in the movie that I thought was really the perfect way to have it happen. And the fact that they didn't do it that way just makes the way it happened even worse. So he was in a car accident with a person with a scroll. The scroll is the shapeshifter, of course. And he thought that that scroll was Coulson. Now, in the Winter Soldier, he said that he lost his eye because he trusted the wrong person. Now, if he had gotten to that car accident because he thought that that scroll was Coulson and he lost his eye in that car accident, that would have made perfect sense and it wouldn't have been a joke. He would have still maintained his, um, not his manhood, he would have still maintained his coolness. I don't know. I can't think of the name right now or the word right now. But that was a big problem for me. The the way they could have done it would have been much better than the way they did it. Another complaint that I had was um, I didn't like some of the shots in the movie. Some of those shots in Captain Marvel looked like they were pulled directly from an ABC TV show, namely Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It looked so generic and so made for TV. I had a problem with that. Um, what else? The most interesting part of the movie to me was at the beginning. I think the first hour, and I think when Carol and Nick started going through files and stuff and getting into her past, that's when the movie really started to drag and it got less interesting. And towards the end, the fight scenes were, in my opinion, they were they didn't have any it didn't feel like anything was really at stake. I didn't really care about what was going on in those fights. I didn't feel like she was in any danger or anybody else was in any danger. The movie, there was very little drama, right? It wasn't even Saturday morning cartoon level. There was just zero drama, zero. There was no tension. Um, However, I'm a sucker for heroines and super strong heroines, so I'll give the movie some points for having Carol be strong and pretty badass. Now, I made another point here. I said that I believe that the movie or the marketing did the movie a disservice. I think the marketing presented Captain Marvel as if it was going to be extremely feminist, and while the movie was feminist, it wasn't like as as much as the marketing made it seem. And the um, the feminist moments in there, while they did feel unrealistic because they just didn't feel real to have so many men be so sexist, so blatantly sexist, especially in the military. You can't do that. You know, you get a grievance filed against you, you'd be in big trouble. So that felt completely unrealistic, but it's it's at a level where you have to be extremely thin-skinned to be upset by it. Really, it's just something that just it passes. You roll your eyes and you say, okay, whatever, and you keep moving. So I think the bottom line here was that Captain Marvel is an average MCU movie, and I believe it got blown into something much bigger than it actually was by politically motivated people on both sides of the culture war. That's it. It's a just perfectly average Marvel movie with not much else to it. If I hated the movie, I would let you know. I wouldn't lie about it. Um, and if I liked the movie, I wouldn't lie about it either. But I like it, but it's not. I don't love it. You know, I think it's probably on the same level as. See, the problem with this movie is that it's not bad, but it didn't thrill me. Even some of the other movies, like Iron Man 2, which is not really great, they thrill me. Um, the Hulk, the first Hulk movie, not the first, not the Ang Lee. I'm talking about the first Marvel, like the Incredible Hulk. That one is one of the best Marvel movies, and that one has drama. It has some. I don't like the college scene though. I hate the college scene. That middle part of the movie. I hate that part. But the rest of the movie is really it's thrilling and it's interesting. So it's hard to judge Captain Marvel because it's not a bad movie, but it doesn't really excite me. It doesn't really thrill me. It doesn't really entertain me, but it's not really a bad movie either. Um, I guess I could describe it as kind of mundane, I guess, sort of not quite boring, just not really. It just straddles this weird line where it's not bad, but it's not great. Um, so it's kind of hard to rank it. But I guess the bottom line, the main point is that it's really blown out of proportion, and also the acting, that the supposed wooden acting of Brie Larson, I think that's completely exaggerated. Brie, maybe in your opinion, you really do feel like Brie Larson was that bad. I don't. Honestly, I don't really understand how anybody could really hate this movie. It's not great, but I don't really understand how many people can hate this movie either. You have to be biased, in my opinion, to really hate this movie. Because it's nothing really to hate. It's just boring. It's just not. It's not. Yeah, it's kind of boring, but it's not like miserable. It's not terrible. What else? So yeah, the wooden acting of Brie Larson, I think is overblown. She showed plenty of emotion, if you ask me. She smiled. Um, I was expecting her to just be wooden faced through the whole thing, and it wasn't that way at all. It really does seem like people were exaggerating about how wooden Brie Larson was supposed to be in this role. If you want to know who was wooden, that would be Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow. That is a very wooden actress. Now, I like the character of Black Widow, and I think it would make more sense for her to become the leader of the Avengers than Captain Marvel. But I guess since they're changing over, then yeah, sure, let Captain Marvel be the leader or whatever. But when it comes to wooden actresses, Scarlett Johansson has that over Brie Larson by a good bit. Um, Brie Larson may not be very captivating, very stunning, but she's definitely not wooden in this role. And I think that is pretty much all I can say about the movie. It's not great, not bad. It's just an average Marvel movie, and that's all there is to it. And I don't really have to compare it to Alita at all. I can just judge the movie on its own merits. But I guess if I was to compare it to Alita, of course I love Alita more, and I can compare what Alita does right or better than what Captain Marvel does. But really, I don't need to because I can judge both films on their own merits, and I don't have to use the Alita Army hashtag to do it. So for those of you who think it's really extremely difficult not to use the hashtag to criticize Captain Marvel, I'm just showing you right now that you can do it. Just judge the movie and you don't have to throw the whole movement under the bus. Just judge the movie without the hashtag. So thanks for listening, and that's my reaction to Captain Marvel.